I thought I knew Ethiopian Airlines business class, but this flight from Addis Ababa to Cape Town completely blew my mind. Not only did they serve a ridiculous amount of food, especially national Ethiopian dishes and desserts, but then they had something I've never seen on any airline before: ice wine. If you've never heard of this wine, you definitely won't want to miss this one. And yes, I tried everything I could on the menu. As always, I have a travel tip for you. This one is a simple bidding hack I use to move from economy to snag these luxury business seats for rock bottom prices. So buckle up while I show you why this might just be the most food-obsessed flight review you've ever watched. Welcome back to yet another luxury travel video, and today we're continuing my Ethiopian Airlines journey. Having just flown from Bangkok to Addis Ababa, in the video link below, I now have just 2 hours to grab some coffee, find the business lounge, and catch my connecting flight to Cape Town in South Africa. But here's the thing, this second leg turned into something completely unexpected. While my first flight was surprisingly good, but only with Western cuisine to choose from on board, this flight was going to be all about authentic Ethiopian food and drinks. And trust me, the crew made sure I tried absolutely all the dishes I could. But before we get to that, first things first, I need to find the business class lounge here in Addis Ababa. But honestly, time is not on my side. 2 hours sounds like a lot, but when you factor in deplaning, transit, and boarding again, it's actually quite tight. The lounge itself is pretty basic, nothing to write home about really. Simple seating, limited food options, and well, frankly, I've seen much better. So I decided to skip it, knowing I'll miss the food, but not knowing what's in store for me. It wasn't a bad decision. Wait and see what I got on the plane. And at the lounge, here's what saved the day: the coffee. And I mean the coffee. From an authentic display in the foyer of the business lounge. This is real Ethiopian coffee, folks. Ethiopia is literally the birthplace of coffee. And oh my goodness, this is incredible. Rich, complex, with this amazing floral note that you just don't get anywhere else. If this is what their lounge coffee tastes like, I'm genuinely excited to see what they serve on the plane. And with that perfect caffeine hit, it's time to head to the gate because our Boeing 787-900 Dreamliner is waiting. And this one's only 5 years old, delivered to Ethiopian Airlines in April 2020. Here we are at the gate. And I have to say, the boarding process is refreshingly efficient. Priority boarding for business class passengers, straight down the air bridge, and oh wow, look at this cabin. This is the same 121 configuration as my previous flight, but somehow it feels even more spacious. Every passenger gets direct aisle access. Couples can open or close that middle divider depending on whether they're having a good day or an argument. You know how it is. Same massive storage compartments, multiple charging points. And look at this, I can close the storage lid while my cables still feed through. It's these little details that really make a difference on a long flight. And speaking of details, check out this boarding pass. It's not just some boring black and white printout. It's actually quite beautiful with Ethiopian's branding. Time to kick off the 3 stripes again. You know the drill. If you're new here, this is my little pre-flight ritual because honestly, who wants to fly in trainers for 6 hours? Now, I mentioned this flight was all about the food and drinks, so let me show you this menu. And this is where things get interesting. Unlike my Bangkok flight on Ethiopian with its purely Western cuisine, this menu is promising authentic Ethiopian dishes. I can see Doro Wat, which is Ethiopia's national dish, injera bread, and wait, is that ice wine on the drinks menu? We're definitely going to investigate that. Before we even push back from the gate, the service begins, and it starts with champagne. Now this isn't just any champagne. This is Trulliard Brut Extra Selection from Maison Trulliard, which is a smaller family-run champagne producer. And it's actually quite good. But here's what caught my attention too. Look at this drinks menu. They have ice wine. Now for those who don't know, ice wine is incredibly rare and very expensive. It's made from grapes that have been frozen, sometimes while still on the vines, and there's literally less than 100 wine farms globally that can make this type of wine. A bottle of this stuff costs around $70 for just 375 milliliters. I absolutely have to try this because I've never seen ice wine served on any airline ever. In fact, I've only ever tasted it once. Oh, and here's our cabin crew rushing past with the passenger information list. Always makes me chuckle how they sprint around just before takeoff. Right, safety video time, nothing revolutionary here, but I'm using this time to really study this menu because I've told the crew I want to try everything, and I mean everything Ethiopian they've got on this plane. And we're pushing back from the gate right on time. I have to say, Ethiopians' punctuality has been impressive on both flights so far. The taxiing here in Addis Ababa is much shorter than Bangkok, and we're airborne in no time. And what a smooth takeoff. You really do feel the difference in business class. Everything just feels more refined. Now that we're airborne and the crew has started moving around, I can already smell something incredible coming from the galley. This is where the magic is going to happen, because they've promised me the full Ethiopian experience. Look at this, proper table service with an actual cloth. This attention to detail is what separates good business class from great business class. And here comes our first course. Okay, this is it, the moment I've been waiting for. And wow, just look at this presentation. So we start with cucumber cups filled with dill cream cheese, smoked salmon, and a creamy vegetable salad. This is beautifully presented, fresh, and actually quite light. A perfect way to start what I suspect is going to be a very generous meal service. And they're pairing this with a French red wine, M. Chapoutière Belle Rouge Côte de Rhône. I hope I've said that right. Now, I'm no sommelier, but this is actually a really nice wine and it pairs beautifully with a smoked salmon. But this is just the beginning, because I've ordered the main course that I'm excited about, the Doro Wat, which is Ethiopia's national dish. It's a spicy chicken stew that's traditionally served with injera bread, and I cannot wait to try authentic Ethiopian food at 40,000 feet. And speaking of trying everything, I think this might be the perfect time to ask for that ice wine. And here it comes. This is what I've been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Doro Wat, served with traditional injera bread. Now, for those who don't know, Doro Wat is essentially Ethiopia's national dish. It's a rich, spicy chicken stew with hard-boiled eggs, and it's traditionally eaten with injera, which is this spongy, slightly sour flatbread made from teff flour. You don't use cutlery for this. You use the injera as both your plate and your utensil. You tear off a piece like this, scoop up the stew, and oh my goodness, this is incredible. The spice level is perfect. It's got that warm, complex heat that builds slowly. The chicken is fall apart tender. And this injera, it's like nothing I've ever tasted. It's got this unique sourness that actually balances the richness of the stew perfectly. But wait, there's more. The crew saw me enjoying the Doro Wat and they've brought me something special. They've brought me kolo. These are roasted barley snacks that are a traditional Ethiopian snack. And look at this, more injera, because apparently they want to make sure I have the full authentic experience. The kolo is absolutely addictive. It's crunchy, nutty, with this amazing roasted flavor. I could honestly snack on this all day. And now for the moment of truth, the ice wine. Remember, this costs about $70 for a small bottle, and I've never seen it served on any airline. Wow, this is Lakeview Cellars Vidal Canadian ice wine, and it's absolutely divine. It's intensely sweet, but not cloying, and this beautiful honeyed character and bright acidity that cuts through the richness. Wow, this is liquid gold at 40,000 feet. Just when I thought this meal couldn't get any better, here comes dessert. And it's not just one dessert, it's a complete dessert selection. We've got dark forest mousse slice, Ethiopian espresso cake, which I'm particularly excited about, and a cheese selection with crackers and seasonal fresh fruit. This is almost overwhelming in the best possible way. Let me start with the Ethiopian espresso cake because Let's be honest, if you're going to do coffee cake, Ethiopia is probably the place to get it right. And they absolutely nailed it. This is rich, moist, with that perfect coffee flavor that's not too bitter. You can really taste the quality of Ethiopian coffee beans in this. The dark forest mousse is decadent, proper European style dessert, and even the fruit selection is impressive. Fresh pineapple, papaya, and some local fruits I can't even identify. But now comes the real test, Ethiopian coffee service. Remember that amazing coffee I had in the lounge? Well, this should be even better. And they're not just bringing me coffee, they're bringing me the full Ethiopian coffee experience. Look at this presentation. This coffee is absolutely spectacular. Rich, aromatic, and with these incredible floral notes that you only get from high-altitude Ethiopian beans. And they've paired it with traditional Ethiopian chocolates. But wait, there's even more. They've brought me Baileys in a small glass to go down with the coffee and chocolates. I mean, at this point, I'm not sure if I'm on an aeroplane or in some kind of Ethiopian hospitality heaven. This combination is absolutely perfect. The coffee, the chocolates, the Baileys, it's like the most indulgent afternoon treat you could imagine. After all that incredible food and drink, it's definitely time for a nap. And look at this blanket they've given me. This isn't your typical airline blanket. This is generally one of the best airline blankets around, rivaling even Qatar's business class duvet. It's thick, it's warm, it's almost like a proper duvet. You could honestly use this at home and be perfectly happy. Unfortunately, it stays on the plane. The seat goes completely flat at the touch of a button, and with this amazing blanket, I'm set for proper sleep. You know what's interesting? This is a daytime flight, and normally I struggle to sleep during the day. But after all that food and wine, with this incredibly comfortable setup, I think I'm going to have no trouble at all. So I'm going to catch a few hours of sleep, and then we'll see what other surprises Ethiopian Airlines has in store for the remainder of this flight to Cape Town. Well, that was generally one of the best airline sleeps I've ever had. This seat is incredibly comfortable when fully reclined, and that blanket, I'm seriously considering asking if I can take it home with me. And look what's waiting for me. They've prepared an afternoon snack service while I was sleeping. The attention to detail from this crew has been absolutely phenomenal. We've got what looks like traditional Ethiopian snacks, more of those addictive kolo barley pieces, and they've even brought me another coffee because apparently they know I can't get enough of Ethiopian coffee. I have to say, this crew has really gone above and beyond to give me the authentic Ethiopian experience. Every single thing they've served me has been either traditional Ethiopian or absolutely top quality international selections. And speaking of experiences, look at this view. We're starting our descent into Cape Town, and you can see the South African landscape stretching out below us. Table Mountain should be visible soon. One last Ethiopian coffee for the road, and honestly, I could drink this stuff all day. The quality is just phenomenal, and it's been such a treat to experience authentic Ethiopian coffee culture at cruising altitude. And here we are, beginning our final descent into Cape Town. Time really does fly when you're being this well fed and looked after. You know what struck me most about this flight? This wasn't just a business class service. It was a cultural experience. Ethiopian Airlines has really embraced their heritage and made it part of the journey. From the Doro Wat to the traditional injera, from the incredible Ethiopian coffee to those little touches like the kolo snacks, they've shown me more authentic Ethiopian culture in 6 hours than I've experienced in most ground-based cultural tours. And what a smooth landing. We're down in Cape Town right on schedule, and I have to say, I'm genuinely sad this flight is over. The total flight time was just over 6 hours, but it felt like I'd been to a proper Ethiopian feast rather than just catching a flight. The crew treated me like family, the food was authentically spectacular, and that ice wine, well, that was just the cherry on top of an incredible experience. So here's my verdict. If you're looking for business class that's not just about luxury seats and decent food, but about genuine cultural hospitality and authentic cuisine, Ethiopian Airlines has absolutely nailed it. If you watched the first leg of this trip in the last video, the link is below, you'll already know the bidding hack you can use to get business class seats for rock bottom prices. If you didn't know, some airlines allow bidding for upgrades to make a bit more out of customers and get them into higher class options. The hack I use is simple. When presented with an email asking you to bid for business class, click on the link in the email and go to the airline's website. Some people will ignore the email. In fact, most people will ignore the email thinking it will be too expensive. But for those who do click and perhaps bid, most of them are going to bid the absolute minimum amount, which in this case was $490. So the hack is simply to outbid those people by adding a tiny bit more than the minimum. I literally bid $495 and got the upgrade on both legs of the trip. If you've heard of this bidding hack, let me know in the comments. So there you have it. Ethiopian Airlines business class from Addis Ababa to Cape Town. And honestly, it exceeded every expectation I had. The food was incredible, the service was genuinely warm and authentic, and that ice wine discovery, well, that's something I'll be talking about for a long time. If you enjoyed this Ethiopian Airlines experience, make sure you check out the first part of this journey, Bangkok to Addis Ababa, which I'll link right here. And if you want to see more luxury travel reviews, where I actually pay for these flights myself and give you honest opinions, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Let me know in the comments, have you ever tried authentic Ethiopian food? And more importantly, have you ever seen ice wine served on an airline? I'm genuinely curious because this was a first for me. Until next time, keep exploring and remember, sometimes the best travel experiences come from the most unexpected places. Safe travels, everyone, and see you next time in the skies.